Alright, response video to Luddite Returns, who's now, whatever, Romanov or some kind of bullshit. Still talks in all this, beat around the bush, bullshit, philosophical talk. So the first half of his video, he's basically making a comparison between a philosophy outlining value and comparing it to the Darwin's theory of natural selection as the cause for speciation in organisms, as if the two are going to have, one's a description of a material process, one is a description of an immaterial, there's no other word for it. Value is a unique concept. Value is a realm that exists without material structure. It's not something you can material watch, a value photon flying through the universe. We can certainly use metaphorical language. I often say things like value gravity, value weight. Other people have used that kind of terminology to understand meaning and substance to events, that events have a substance, and that substance can only be understood through context, through reasoned associations, and a kind of recognition of relationship. Relationship to this idea of significance and meaning and substance and weight and that. So obviously this is not the same kind of theory. A theory of value can't be related to a theory of oxidation. It's just silly to make such a comparison. As if I can give you a statement of, here, prove this. You can't do it that way. You have to do it through logical proofs and through reasoned arguments. And if you have a counter theory, present it and compare it. And what I'm saying is your counter theory of God did it, that there is function, or the even more nonsensical nihilistic theory that it somehow doesn't matter whether an animal is tortured or not tortured, is ludicrous, nonsensical, makes no sense to me, and I claim you to be a lying piece of crap to tell me that you don't know what harm is. That when doctors say, first do no harm, you find that a laughable premise for doctors to have. A laughable idea, totally undemonstrated by reason or logic, that would be a sensible first approach to imposing yourself on a circumstance, to first do no harm. He's a nurse, right? And he doesn't understand that logically. He claims it to be ludicrous, unfounded, made up. So, yeah, I can't, the depths of my contempt for this individual just keep growing. So he has 5 kids, so this obnoxious, arrogant asshole thinks he can just make up values, and he can just declare for somebody else what he thinks they ought to do. Yeah. You ought to call me Daddy and think I did you a favor. Well, fuck you. If you were my father, I'd kill you. Simply. If my father talked like you, I'd kill him.
This is twofold.
You're
disgusting. Not only have you never even hinted at defeater conditions, but you've never...
I have hinted at defeater conditions. Give me your explanation of value that's rational. Okay, one that's not dependent on a god, and one that's not dependent on some silly notion that it doesn't matter whether 6 million Jews get tortured in concentration camps or some other nonsense. some other nonsense where you can negate the harm you impose, where somehow you magically have the power to tell other people what's good for them, even when they tell you they don't want you to do that. That somehow you know you're doing the right thing, somehow you have the authority, somehow you've been bestowed with the knowledge of good and evil. No. By negating their existence. That's how you gain knowledge of them, by negating their existence. Yeah, sure. He has that shit written right on his fucking chest. He doesn't believe in value as an absolute, yet he has it written on his fucking body. Yeah. Ludicrous returns.
Even attempted to demonstrate the unassailability or the explanatory power of your claim.
Yeah, well, my claim is that you're an idiotic psychology. That one day you like sushi, the next day you like Lamborghinis, the next day you want to have 6 kids. That your frivolous, idiotic notions of accomplishment and purpose are just that, psychological manifestations of nonsense. You're silly motherfuckers. That's my theory. Now prove to me you're not a silly motherfucker. Demonstrate with a single shred of evidence that you're not a frivolous, silly, irresponsible, reckless, sloppy, selfish bastard. Show me the evidence that that isn't correct, that isn't an accurate definition of your egomaniacal, self-aggrandizing, self-authorizing shit for brain. Show me some evidence.
This is particularly important in that the absence of empirical access.
You say it's important. Oh, gee, you're able to say something's important, but other people aren't allowed to say something's valuable? Interesting.
Right? So we have no empirical access to value.
Yeah, that's right, we don't. So, but we do have access to logic. We do have access to understanding of the evolutionary process, that we're desire machines, that we are in fact addicted to things, that our physiology makes certain impulsive behavior necessary to our function. We're able to understand all that we're psychological basket cases. And that we do have a capacity to play a better game if we play it with our brain and our logic. And we can know that something's right or wrong, and even though we have an impulse to do something, we know, no, don't do that, it's stupid. People can control their weight that way, they can control rape that way, they can control violence that way, they can control all kinds of impulsive behavior by simply having a few intellectual thoughts that inform them that no, in the long run, that's reckless and dangerous and stupid. So if they do a little bit of thinking, they can do the first do no harm thing quite easily with a little bit of logic, unless they're selfish bastards like you.
Coupled with the absence of a priori status, lends an
a priori status, you know, what's that? The earth is round? I mean, what do we put in that category nowadays? Feeling sentient organisms, their sensations matter. Yeah, that can't be called a priori. We can't agree on that, huh? You're just all a little bit too fucktarded to figure out that something, like it matters if you run something over with your car. Like even if you couldn't help it, it still sucks that a living thing that can feel has to go through an agonizing process of being killed, and you still can't shed just a tiny bit of a tear for that. You suck, that's all. You just fucking suck. A priori tear.
element of precariousness to the grounds upon which we stand. You fail to...
Yeah, whatever. You think it's precarious. I don't see anything precarious about it. I'm standing on the ground of evolution, a sentient mechanism that is just part of a toolkit that created a motivating mechanism to get organisms to play an insidiously nasty game, to beat the shit out of each other. And you want to glorify that game and say, yes, let the gladiator war continue, because you're a sadistic lunatic. You're an imbecile.
Recognize this, and when pushed on epistemological grounds regarding your value claim, instead of, as any good ethicist would...
I don't know. You know, what's the jump cut doing in there? So does somebody follow that non sequitur?
Establish or attempt to establish the value contention as justified in light of explanatory power.
Any good ethicist would justify it in light of explanatory power. Again, so I can't, explaining it based on biology, the function of a survival of the fittest mechanism, enabled with toolkits, and that motivation and addiction, passion would be one of these tools, that somehow is not really connected, justifying logic. Yeah, sure it is. Fuck you.
Or soundness between moral intuitions.
Moral intuitions. I don't even accept the existence of such things. We don't have any moral intuitions. We're selfish motherfuckers. That's not called morality. You're selfish motherfuckery. The bigotry of your love for your fucking own kids and not every kid. And your love for your parents and not every old person. That's your bigotry, asshole. That's nothing to admire, you fucking retard. Alright? That's just plain and simple fucking bigotry. You're glorifying bigotry, you stupid shit. Moral intuition? Fuck, you are dumb.
To grant an incommensurability, restate the claim.
Incomprehensibility, or whatever he said. Fuck you.
In its original formulation, i.e. a bald assertion, and then claim victory.
Whatever. Yeah, no, I don't. I claim victory because you don't have a counter argument. You can't claim it's not psychology. You can't claim it's not just conditioned addictions. That there is no difference between roast beef and sushi. That these are all subjective attachments people have, that these are subjective intuitions of morality and decency. They have nothing to do with actual value. They're just projections of value.
If you don't see the problem here, I'm not sure if there's anything that I could say that could break through to an imperviousness to philosophic discourse.
An imperviousness to philosophic discourse, right? I mean, really, I'm supposed to be pervious to what? The non-argument you're making. Your non-argument about your non-God who claims there to be no value distinctions that are absolute. Oh, gee, your invisible, non-existent, non-claimed God tells you through intuition that there's no real value, just no value, but everybody's entitled to impose it as if they know what they're doing. No, sorry, no sale, retard.
And even worse than the hedonic experience value claims,
So that's a terrible thing. Hedonic means feeling, so it's associating value with the welfare of sentient creatures. That's idiotic. That's nonsensical. We're supposed to associate value with what Google says is valuable. Google says it's not evil, so it must not be evil. And the Google toolbar, it says, is good, so it must be good. Is that right? Because Google says so.
Dichotomy between supposedly real value and supposedly projected value.
Yes, there, let's see, get to that one now. Let's see what you can do with that.
As you've presented this dichotomy, it has less persuasive force than a chicken soup for the soul book would.
A chicken soup for the soul book would. Oh, fine. I don't know exactly what that is. You're claiming these books, that somehow everybody's supposed to know what these books are, and yet they weren't persuasive because everybody knows what they are, but they weren't persuasive or popular because nobody believed in them, but they were popular. And everybody knows what a chicken soup for the soul book is. But they didn't work because they weren't persuasive, and they didn't convince anybody because they were unpopular and nobody knows what they were. So once again, fuck you. You're talking gibberish.
I have to incline one towards optimism. I don't see the grounds by which you establish this dichotomy.
He doesn't see the grounds by which I established the dichotomy. I was saying that a girl trapped under a gas truck has an absolute, eminent, urgent value, where whether you should have sushi or roast beef for dinner doesn't mean shit by comparison. That one's projected nonsense. A Lamborghini, for example. A Lamborghini or the girl trapped under the burning truck. One's projected value. There's no real value. If the Lamborghini burns under the truck, it doesn't matter. You're an idiot.
Other than your own eccentric, I suppose.
Right, so now it's eccentric. Yes, all those vegetarians are all eccentric, crazy little fucktards. Yeah, fuck you. You just suck so bad. I can't wait till you die.
Series of bald assertions. And what I find highly ironic is that value
I find it ironic that you got 6 kids and you're wasting your motherfucking time on the internet. You've taken on the responsibility of 6 conscious beings, okay, creating them, looking out for their welfare, giving them instruction to avoid harm. First, do no harm. Well, I guess it would be not doing harm by you not interacting with them, because there's nothing constructive you could do for them, because you're a toxic waste dump of bullshit.
Realist arguments have been made precisely on evolutionary grounds, which is to say, a causal narrative or
a causal narrative of what? Humans like humans? Human bigotry? Oh, gee. That's such a brilliant narrative. Bigotry. Ooh. Oh man, that's so intellectual.
An explanatory narrative can be given.
Yeah, of egomaniacal bigotry. Oh, gee. I mean, what, would you make speeches at, like, white power meetings or something? Is that what all this good evil bullshit is about? Come on, you must have the N-word tattooed somewhere on your ass, right?
Full stop. Without recourse to value as a property or actuality that obtains transperspectively.
Transperspectively. Oh, that means absolutely. That's right. So, beyond your ability to eliminate the truth. Yeah, that's right. Your bigotry should die with you. Yeah, that's right. Because it's bullshit. It's absolute bullshit. You're living a lie and you're trying to impose it on others for your own selfish ends because you're just a gluttonous motherfucking piece of shit pig. Oinky, oinky, you motherfucker. Choke on it and die. Ugh. Fuck you.